Hey there, I am back with a top 5 list, and today it's going to be the top 5 decks from the one and only Thirdway Industries. Italian designer Giovanni Moroni is one of my absolute favorite designers. I think he does really outstanding work. And he has a huge catalog of beautiful decks. So I wanted to give you my personal list of the top 5. Without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, before we get to the top 5, I want to kick it off with a few honorable mentions, and the first one's going to be this one right here, the Evil deck. This is the one that started it all for Giovanni Moroni. He won a contest back in 2013 that allowed him to get his Evil deck design printed with the Expert Playing Card Company, and this is the result. It's definitely a much simpler design compared to a lot of his future decks, from the plain black and white tuck to the much simpler back design compared to a lot of the future decks. But you can still see elements throughout here that are distinctly Giovanni Moroni designs, especially as you get to the cards themselves. Now, what's interesting about this one is every single one of the cards carries a completely unique illustration. So lots of fun evil characters throughout this deck. But as you get to the court cards, you can see elements in there that are definitely Giovanni's style throughout here, even if it's not as intricate or detailed as some of his future works. But with the countdown list here, I definitely wanted to pay homage to the deck that started it all, and so that's why the Evil deck gets one of the honorable mentions. And the second one is going to be the Daedalo Epiron deck. This one is from the Daedalo series, started with the Alpha and Omega, and this one kind of has a special spot in my heart because the Alpha and Omega decks, the other two decks from this series, were actually the first two Thirdway decks that I personally picked up. So they're always going to be near and dear to me, but the Daedalo Epiron deck really took it to another level. This is the most limited of the three, and I love the blue foil on the kind of navy blue tuck case mixed in with that gold. Really beautiful foil. I love the maze design that's done through this one. This deck is a tribute to the story of the Minotaur, and the Minotaur, of course, lived within a labyrinth. And so you'll see that design element work throughout the deck. And as you go into the card backs, you've got that same design. I love the maze on this one. It's one of my favorite card backs from all of his decks. And then you get just really beautiful dark cards here. I like the Minotaur quite a bit on the Joker here with his labyrinth shield. And then the really nice use of gold metallic inks against the black there. Just a really, really nice deck. Love the court cards throughout this one. Just very, very cool with all the characters from the Minotaur story. So this is just one of my favorite decks, and because it's one of the first of the decks that I picked up, it's always going to be special to me. So Daedalo Epiron, also another one of my honorable mentions. And then third is going to be one of the more recent decks, and that's the Order Electus. This is from a Kickstarter campaign from last year, and this is kind of a departure from his really heavily mythology-based decks. This one has a little bit more of a dystopian feel to it. So it's kind of looking at a dystopian future where this ruling party has taken over, the Order has taken over. So much bolder and much more aggressive design. Love the red, really heavy embossing on the tuck case. And the cards themselves continue that theme as well. Very bold with the red, black, and gold color scheme on this one. Just a very vibrant and in-your-face design. The cards themselves continue with that red design. The court cards feature much more modern characters and much more aggressive feels, including the leader of the Order himself on the King of Spades. But what really does it for me on these are going to be the Jokers, or the extra cards that come in this one. It features cards that are meant to look like propaganda posters that you might see in Russia or in other dystopian societies. So you've got like the Eraser here with the leader shooting lasers out of his eyes, or an anti-propaganda poster for the Betrayer, who you can kill on sight. So just really cool, fun, interesting cards. Love the ad cards that come with this one. So the Order, definitely worthy of an honorable mention, but falls just short of the top 5. So that's my 3 honorable mentions, but let's get it started with number 5. deck number 5 in the countdown, we're going to go to 2018's Odysseus Series. This was actually a 3-deck series that included Neptune as well as Minerva and Mythica. Mythica was the rarest of the 3, but Neptune was my favorite. And it really just came down to the use of the metallics and the colors throughout this one. This one tells the story of Ulysses and his battle with Neptune. And the Neptune deck features just really beautiful pale blue foil on the tuck that I think just looks absolutely outstanding, paired with the gold accents. See Neptune there on the front, and if you flip to the back, you can really see that blue foil shine. Doesn't stop with the tuck though, uses metallic inks throughout the card backs as well. Almost the entire card back is metallic ink from the blue metallic, that's the main color, and then just accents of this silver here as well in the trident and a few other spots. Really beautiful color combination. Love the backs of these. Like a lot of his decks, it's inspired by Roman mythology, and you can see it in just the beautiful, intricate designs of the cards. The aces and the jokers feature this really kind of ethereal design with the characters almost in the background, but then as you get into the courts, you get just some beautifully designed courts. Some of the best that he's done and some of the most intricate out of all of his decks. Love the looks of these, love the motion and the flowing images throughout these as well. It also features one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite court cards of any Giovanni Moroni deck, and that is the King of Clubs. This is Neptune himself. You can see him with the trident there. I love those shields and the almost kind of wave-like look of his beard and hair. So the God of the Sea featured very strong in this one. The blue metallics and the gold metallics throughout this really serve to accent this deck beautifully throughout. And so this one right here, Odysseus Neptune, makes it in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Betrayers Invictus. This was the premium deck from the Betrayers series on Kickstarter, and in my opinion, the best of the lot. This one features a really simple color scheme on the tuck with the matte black and the gold foil. No embossing, but it is beautifully done. Just the foil work on this one is outstanding. From that large spade pip to the explosion of design elements on the front to the really just beautifully foiled back design featured on the back of the tuck case. It's a really classy look to the tuck, but really just beautifully done. The real highlight of this one is the back design of the cards. These are printed by Cartamundi, one of the few Thirdway decks that is, and they do outstanding work with cold foiled backs. So you've got the gold foil against the black, just jet black card, and it's beautifully executed. I love the intricacy of the design. I love the snake weaving through there as a symbol of betrayers. Just really beautifully done, and the foil work is absolutely impeccable. You can see that shine on it. Really beautiful back design. Probably my favorite of any Thirdway back design. The cards themselves don't disappoint either. You have some beautifully drawn Giovanni Moroni courts that we've all come to know and love. This is really a celebration of betrayers, those who would give up anything, cross any boundary, betray anybody in their quest for, whether it's money, power, love, whatever it is that they're after, they're willing to do anything it takes to get it. And so that's the story behind the deck. But I love, everything right down to the facial expressions on these, the serene look there on the King of Hearts. Just every single court card here, really interesting. Love the little details on it. Love the kind of different poses that they're in, and yet at the same time kind of maintains a bit of a classic feel to it. Almost feels a little bit like royalty that you'd see in a normal deck. So just a really beautifully drawn set of cards, but really the winner for me is going to be those back designs. So that's really the thing that elevated Betrayers Invictus to number 4 on my list. Coming in at number 3 on the countdown is the Black Monolith deck. This was a 2019 deck. It was actually my personal deck of the year for 2019. Stand behind that, one of my favorite decks in my collection. The Black Monolith is part of a series of decks, including the White Monolith and the Gold Monolith, that tells a bit of a meta mythology. It's sort of a mythology that encompasses all other mythologies. Has a little bit more of a futuristic feel to it, but is just a really beautifully designed deck all the way through. The tuck case itself is just a super bold design, whether it's the black foil against the black tuck, creating that really intricate design in the background, or the use of holographic foils to accent all the way throughout. That holographic foil, along with the black, just really shines fantastically. And you can really see the holographic foil to full effect on the back of the tuck case here. So really beautiful, but it doesn't stop there. The cards themselves make an experimental use of a combination of holographic foils with neon inks, and it's just a really in-your-face, stunning look to it. I love the back designs of these. Again, these are printed by Cardamundi, and so you get really beautiful foil work. They are fantastic at that. But I love these back designs. I love how that orange just pops. As you turn to the faces, it doesn't end. You've got really heavy use of holographic foil on these cards as well. The Jokers in particular are just huge explosions of it. But then every single card features these holographic borders as well. So you get holographic foil on both the faces and the backs of every single card. The quartz are classic Giovanni Moroni style, art style, but feature the different gods of this meta universe, whether it be time and space, etc. So a little bit more of a futuristic feel, but a really interesting departure from the classic mythology that inspires a lot of his decks. I love the story behind this deck. I love all the detail that goes into it, and that heavy use of the metallic inks or metallic foiling in combination with the neon inks is just a really striking look. The Gold Monolith deck is the same cards as these, but also features a rainbow foiling on the cards themselves, or gilding. Interesting. I personally don't really go for gilding usually, so while I have the Gold Monolith, the Black Monolith remains my favorite of the three. So there is the Black Monolith coming in at number 3. We are down to the last 2, and at number 2, it is Pantheon. This is one of the few standalone decks that Thirdway Industries has done, and this one is one of my absolute favorite decks, in large part because of the color schemes that are used. Now, this one, the Pantheon, refers to the pantheon of Greek gods, and so this is looking across all of the different gods, and they're really kind of packed together in one deck. What I love about this one, just right from the tuck case, is the use of this really bright purple foil. Color you don't really see often, and against the darker purple tuck and combined with the gold foil, it's a really striking look to it. Just bold and beautiful foiling on the tuck case. Continues on with the back of the tuck case, and just a really beautiful look. I love the contrast too as you open it up and you get that bright red foil on the inside of the tuck, matching that tuck seal. Really fantastic look to it. The cards themselves do not disappoint at all. You have a purple card, really something a little bit unusual, a dark purple, and the backs are covered with gold foil, just a really luxurious feel to it. Unlike the last two, this one's not Cardamundi. This one is USPCC, and sometimes their foiling can be inconsistent, but I think they did a really great job on these. You got the beautiful back design, two-way, tons of elements and details going on. The fronts of the cards as well are done in purple, and they feature the pantheon of the gods. So all of those different gods are featured throughout here. Lots of use of gold inks on this one, and just really beautifully illustrated court cards as well. This is, in my opinion, some of the heyday of Giovanni Moroni courts. He did really intricate designs, and you can see them on display here. There's Zeus as the king of spades, for example. You've got little hits of red as well coming in as you go in through some of the red courts. Just a really beautifully drawn set of courts. combined with, I love the use of the purples on this one, combined with the metallics. No doubt at all for me, Pantheon easily makes it into the top 5, and in fact is number 2. All right, we are down to number 1, and it is Eva Paradis. This is actually the most recent deck from Thirdway Industries, and it is my personal favorite. This one is a remake, if you will, of the original Eva deck, one that Giovanni Moroni himself has said is probably his favorite design in the past. But he decided to remake it with the Eva Noire and Eva Paradis decks. Both of them feature the exact same cards inside, but the Paradis has this highly limited and absolutely stunning tuck case. Limited to just 350, the tuck case is printed on this gold paper. Shiny gold paper with pink metallic foil throughout. It is just an absolutely beautiful look. Hopefully you can see some of the detail in there, almost like cloth, and you can see the kind of lines and the grains in the paper there. Really beautiful tuck case, absolutely stunning, and that foil all the way around just really, really pops. The cards themselves do not disappoint either. Done in this yellow gold metallic ink. I love these card backs. Featuring Eva herself with the hearts there, and then the leaves with that green metallic ink throughout. Just really beautiful. The cards themselves are the story of some of the original first women. So you can see Adam and Eve here. So the hearts are going to tell the story of Eve, and then each of the suits is going to tell the story of one of the first women. Go check out my review for the Eva Noire and Eva Paradis decks if you want to see more of the entire story. But I love that they do this sort of chronological look of each of these women as part of the court cards themselves. So the court cards, rather than featuring different characters, are going to feature a progressive story of the same character. Really interesting and intriguing look to it. I love the gold metallic inks that are really heavily used, and combined with that really bright pink that's used on the red cards. It's a fantastic look. I love the stories that are told through the court cards. I love the design. I love the black and kind of darkness that's added to this as well, and that stunning yellow gold on the front. And so that is why the Eva Paradis makes it as my favorite deck from the entire Thirdway series. So that's it. That is my top 5 decks from Thirdway Industries, finishing with number 1, Eva Paradis. So hope you enjoyed that. Let me know how you think I did. Maybe you have another favorite. Maybe there's something you kind of prefer. And if you want a chance to win the Eva Noire, that's these cards right here. Same cards, like I said, from the Eva Paradis deck. Go check out my last video with the full review of these. Still have one more day. Tomorrow I'm going to announce the winner of this deck. So hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you subscribe for more deck reviews, unboxings, top 5 lists, things like that. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what else you want to see, and I'll see you for the next one.